Welcome to the Filmistines, the podcast where we discuss all things movies. Join us as we dive deep into the latest releases, revisit classic films, and explore the art of cinema. Whether you're a film fanatic or just love a good flick, we've got you covered. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie gems, we'll be breaking down the storytelling, the cinematography, and everything in between. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready for some cinematic magic. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/filmistines. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $20 tier grants the ability to request films for future episodes. This is the Filmistines, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience.
They're an experience.
All around you. And welcome back to the Filmistines, your new favorite podcast and the fastest growing podcast in the world. We're still the fastest growing podcast in the world. Can you believe that?
Nope.
I'm joined today by my gym leader friend, Lucy. She's defeating challengers so they don't get their chance at the Elite Four.
What?
Yeah, you don't play the games, do you?
No.
And today we are talking about a movie that you love, that you're pretty fond of.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I love Pokemon, but I don't love this movie. I don't love any Pokemon movie. I don't love the anime either. It's all about the games for me and the little creatures. I don't really care about Ash. I'm glad Ash is finally retired. He didn't deserve 25 years of a show. He sucks ass. He sucks ash. Is that word?
No. Mm.
Yeah, so how do you want to take this episode today? What are some thoughts on Detective Pikachu? I'm much more interested in what you have to say than me.
Well, I like this movie a lot. I saw it when it came out to theaters, so I was really excited to go see it on the big screen. And, I mean, visually, this is a beautiful movie. I think that the colors they have in this film are really vivid, especially especially the Pokemon, but the just the city scene, feels very futuristic, Yeah.
kind of lots of neon and screens, and feels like what you might think about as like a future New York City or future Tokyo or something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we should talk about the Pokemon themselves for a second. I mean, I don't know how you felt about them, but I thought they looked pretty good, especially some of my favorites. Psyduck has always been one of my favorite Pokemons, and he just looked awesome in this film. You could see like each individual feather he had. So I'm glad how they made him look. There's always these like images of people recreating real life versions or hyper realistic versions of Pokemon, and
I hate those.
yeah, some of them are weird. I mean, I don't know.
It looks like they're trying to put them through like a horror filter or something.
Yeah.
Like all these Pokemon in real life are all apparently horrific, although, real critters in the world really aren't horrific. We got your anglerfish is pretty weird looking. You got your squids are weird, and your bugs and stuff some of them are kind of weird looking, but why does a Bulbasaur have to look fucked up and something from a nightmare? I don't know. It just does in a lot of these drawings, though. I hate those so much.
Yeah, they're weird. They're definitely weird. And I mean, these are Pokemon. These are cute. They're supposed to be cute. They're not supposed to be weird. So, I don't know. I feel like maybe just somebody created them and people just went crazy with trying to replicate that.
I did like how the Pokemon looked. Obviously, they're all CG, so that's going to be something that I have to battle with.
Yep.
And that's fine. And they did a good job. Nothing was offensive in any way whatsoever. They didn't give, a softness like they do in Marvel and stuff. It felt they tried to make them as realistic as possible. And I have to appreciate that. I really do. One thing I didn't like about the Pokemon, though, was we saw the same 12 or so Pokemon over and over and over again in the background and stuff. We didn't see very many.
Yeah.
Thought that was a little weird, but that might have something to say just about which Pokemon can live with people, because I'd be willing to bet most Pokemon can't live with people. An Ursaring, I don't think is living with people, to be honest. You know? I guess I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, I mean, Ursaring can't live with people, but Teddy Ursa definitely can.
Maybe, yeah.
I guess you don't want him to evolve, so maybe that's
not
the issue.
Yeah, like I wouldn't expect a Mankey or a Primeape to live with people, so but I didn't see them there, or a Rapidash Ponytails. I wouldn't expect them to live with people because they have fire shooting off their backs. That'd be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You know what I mean? So we saw things like Snorlax and the Machamp, and maybe a Machoke. Those guys, the Machamp guys, they make a lot of sense to me because they'd be so fucking useful moving stuff around in the human world.
Yeah, but the one that was there was directing traffic.
Well, I could also see Machamps being police officers too.
Oh, that's true.
I could see that. They'd be scary police officers, all three of them. And the Snorlax was cool. I like that. That was a little bit of an homage to, or a nod, I should say, to, Snorlax being in the way, blocking your paths and stuff. He was small.
I wish there was more Snorlax and a bigger Snorlax.
Yeah. And we might get one in the future with another movie. It looks like there might be 2 movies related to this one in production, or at least in someone's brain who has money to greenlight a production. But at the same time, we also can't just have every Pokemon all at once on screen because that wouldn't really make a lot of sense for a movie.
That's true.
We need some restraint there, and so we probably do get a decent amount on screen. It's just a little disappointing because we see so many cool ones. The Gengar, the Charizard, the Gengar especially. I think he's probably the coolest guy on screen during the underground fight.
Yeah,
thought he looked super cool and weird, and I loved it.
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite. The underground scene's probably my favorite part of the movie. Minus the bad guy. He's weird, but that's what you just kind of expect in this kind of movie. I think that he's not really a bad guy. He's just the ringleader of the underground, Pokemon fighting scene under there. But he was just strange. I mean, so many of the characters were strange in that. It's just like any other kaiju movie. The humans kind of suck. But Justice Smith, he was okay.
Yeah, he was okay in this. I do think this movie. I think that's the weakest point of this movie, for sure. The human characters, I should say. Just kind of their interactions with each other and maybe some of the dialogue. I thought the plot itself was a decent plot,
Sure.
Great plot twist, but maybe could have been executed better, or maybe could have
the performances were kind of weak, especially coming out of Bill Nighy, whatever.
Bill Nighy?
The CEO of that company, whatever
Bill
company
Nye.
was here. He especially seemed kind of weak compared to what he has done before. You would expect a little more out of him, and the little bit that pops out the most to me is just like, what the fuck was when he was putting his mind in Mewtwo, and he was just like, he did what a 7-year-old would do if they were if they were trying to act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. That's fucking, that was weird.
And I agree with you. From the first, bit of when the movie starts with them, Justice Smith, I guess Tim, his name is Tim in the film, and his friend are trying to catch that Cubone. And that's a cute little scene, but the performances were just not great from the start. Didn't get better, didn't improve. So
I do think Tim's performance is probably the best, or Justice Smith's performance was probably the best, which is a funny thing to say because he's generally the worser of whatever bunch of people he's in. But I think his nonchalantness and his feeling of not wanting to be there actually worked for him because he didn't really want to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like he pulled that off actually pretty well. But yeah, his friend at the very beginning was not good. It was weird. It was a cute scene though. It's a bit, we're like battling, no pun intended, this thing that we're really enamored by. Pokemon's been enamoring people for almost 30 years now, and we just know the potential there, and this taps into 2% of it. So we're definitely trying to give it something. But it's definitely an interesting example in that, because it's like the only look at Pokemon we have through a realistic lens on some level, with the exception of the little short anime they did called Pokemon Origins, which is very cool. It's like 6 episodes, and it's kind of like, well, what if there was some kind of lethality involved in Pokemon, and there was kind of a more serious mood. That's what Pokemon Origins is. It's like 6 episodes, maybe 2 hours in total. And I do want to say, as far as I know, this isn't exactly an anime adaptation, live action anime adaptation. It's adapted from a 3DS game or a DS game called Detective Pikachu. Basically the same story. Mm-hmm. It's probably the best anime-esque live action adaptation we've ever had, because not that bar is very high, but we've had a lot of those, and they're all terrible, right? I mean, I don't know how many you've seen. I've seen probably 4 or 5 over the years.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But they're notoriously just horrendous. Like, we got this One Piece one about to come out, and it looks like all the others. I mean, I guess the CG's maybe a little better. There's like there's actual kind of effort put into the powers of the anime characters. Mm-hmm. So that's a start, right? Unlike the one we get with Dragon Ball and Death Note and Ghost in a Shell. These I guess Ghost in a Shell is probably looked at as the best, I would say, with Scarlett Johansson, but I don't know, they're kind of just all really bad. But I think this one kind of stands out against those just because it's kind of has a self-contained story. So I think that helps it. Unlike most anime in general, it just really isn't self-contained in any way whatsoever. But I do like the Pokemon. And I was surprised the first time I saw it that I did like them. Most 2D things really don't translate to 3D all that well. Mm-hmm. And these guys didn't in the games. 3D Pokemon look terrible in the games, and they look much better here than they do in the games. Not that they're trying to go for a realistic look, I guess, in the games, but it just, everything, or I should say a lot of them look just weird. Like, I've told you Typhlosion, one of my favorite 2D sprites. And when they made him in 3D, he looks like a sausage. What happened to my dude? They just, they just weren't intended for that design, or for the most part, up until Gen 5 or 6. And it shows, because it's just that's not what they were meant to be looked at as. And so, some of them look fine. Like, even Pikachu looks kind of weird in 3D. He looks kind of like a sausage too. Like, why is he so cylindrical? I don't know. Where's our fat Pikachu from the very first episode? I don't know. But things like, I can imagine an Articuno looking pretty good in 3D. Mm-hmm. Mewtwo looks okay. What was your favorite part of the movie?
I mean, pretty much anything that had a cool looking Pokemon was my favorite. I really liked the Cubone in the beginning. The underground fighting ring thing, whatever, was cool. And I guess that's probably some of the coolest, because that's where we see the Pokemon being poisoned by the R gas. So we see Charizard kind of transforming into a crazy Charizard. So that was pretty cool. And then that's where we have that Magikarp, which Magikarp looked awesome and then turned into Gyarados. So I mean, that whole bit was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we see a Gengar, Charizard, and Gyarados all in that one little scene.
Yeah. So
that's probably the showpiece scene, really.
I forgot what they're called. The speaker dudes.
Oh, I like them. Their evolution's called Loudred.
No, they're Loudred.
Oh, what's the evolution called? Exploud or something? Exploud. Okay. So this is Loudred. Yeah, I like. That's funny. We see him, and we see Ludicarlo, I think, which are probably 2 of my top 10 favorite Pokemon.
Oh, that's cool.
I like them a lot, just because, and they're kind of counters to each other, not in a battling sense, but they were kind of like Butterfree and Beedrill, how they're kind of complements to each other, I should say. Mm-hmm. They're kind of in that boat too in Gen 3, maybe 4. I think 3. I get all mixed up at some point. There's like 1,000 Pokemon.
Yeah, don't ask me past Gen 1, really. That's when they all start mixing.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, I get it. Gen 1, I know Gen 1 and 2 pretty well. Gen 3 gets a little fuzzy. Gen 4 gets a little more fuzzy. And then after that, everything's Gen 5 to me.
Is there more than Gen 5?
I think there's 8 now.
Holy crap.
I think with Scarlet and Violet, I think that's 8. That might be 9, but I think it's 8. It might be 9. Because Sun and Moon was 7. Sword and Shield actually was 8, I think. So, there's a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah, and I have no experience whatsoever with the games. I do have with, Pokemon Go, but I wouldn't call that a game.
Shit, I think it's as much as a game as the core games are now because Ash and his friend were doing Pokemon Go stuff in the last show.
Yeah, I think that's more of a lifestyle if you're playing Pokemon Go than a game.
Yeah.
It's like an addiction.
Yeah, definitely. There's much more to do in a sense. They definitely drip feed it to you in Pokemon Go versus the game. The core games, you can kind of get through them. You could do everything you want in the core games in a couple weeks. People are still playing Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
And it started, 6 years ago now? 2016 maybe?
Yeah, I think it was 2016.
I think it was July 2016, actually. This is a Pokemon Go anniversary episode. There you go, folks. Yeah, this movie doesn't do much for me. The story is serviceable, right? It kind of references an interesting thing. Probably the most interesting thing that's brought up in the whole movie is them bringing up that Mewtwo was created 20 years ago and escaped Kanto. That's interesting stuff.
Yeah. That
either confirms Ash Ketchum is part of this universe or Red and Blue are part of this universe. One or the other. I know Ash and Gary were inspired by Red and Blue, but they're not the same, I guess. I think it's two different universes, right? I guess that's what that would imply, because they kind of look the same. They have the Pikachu, and especially Gary and Blue look identical. So I don't know. I don't know why they separated those. Was Red a weird name? Would Red have been a weird name for the main character?
I mean, Red and Blue are kind of weird names. Yes, I think. Very confusing. I mean, if you know, you know, so then there's no confusion there, but I don't know. I mean, we did see Pikachu singing the Pokemon theme song.
Which makes me think Ash is the guy here.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I saw that they're making in the early talks of a spinoff of Red and Blue. So, I don't know. It's just all fucked up. Does anyone even think about the Pokemon lore? I don't know. Is Pokemon lore consistent enough to even think about? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, what came first? The games?
Yeah, the games came first.
Then the anime? Yeah, I guess when you start basing something off a game, you don't have any lore to help you. You kind of have to make it up. So I could see something like that getting lost for sure. And there's so much Pokemon stuff that everyone's probably okay with it getting lost. You know, I don't think Pokemon fans are die-hard Pokemon fans.
Lore mongers?
Yeah, sure.
That's what they call them.
Like your Harry Potter dudes?
Mm-hmm.
Or your, Game of Thrones people?
Mm-hmm.
Or your...
Yeah, Pokemon people just want... They want the bare minimum. They just want a serious story.
Yeah.
They don't have any, I guess they don't have any lore to bitch about. They just want the story.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. That's what I want. I'd buy a Switch for like an adult Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm.
That had real systems, real deep mechanics, and ran properly. Didn't run at 2 frames a second on the Switch like the new one does.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, you heard it here.
That's the only game I'd play, though.
Someone tell Nintendo.
Maybe the new Pikmin. I don't know what they're waiting for. I feel like that would be huge.
Yeah.
You just need to Zeldify it a little bit, Zelda's had the kiddie stuff. Like the kiddie-ish, or, the more kiddie stuff. But Pokemon only became more kiddie, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely agree
Especially
with that.
the show. The show is unbelievably, without a doubt, for 5-year-olds.
It got really weird, too. I mean, from what I saw, some of the Pokemon like started talking and they looked very human.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened, but at some point one of the generations became a little obsessed with and what's the word? Amorphizing and anthropomorphizing,
Sure.
yeah, kind of humanizing the structure of a lot of Pokemon. I don't like that.
Yeah, they were walking
Upright,
upright.
and they had very human like proportions, and it's just that's not okay. And if I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong, I think a lot of modern Pokemon in the last few generations are created by the U.S. headquarters. So that would help explain the like cutesified, I don't know, cutesified kind of take on them. It's been they fucked it up. And it may just be too little too late because so many of the Pokemon are so fucked up. Because if they're not anthropomorphized, they are deeply inspired by human creations, which I also have a problem with. You have to be very deliberate and scarce with that. You can't just have your iPhone Pokemon. You can't have your TV Pokemon. You can't just have your garbage Pokemon, your ice cream Pokemon. Just what is this? You can have some of this, but it needs to be handled much more smartly. And I think, even though Magnemite is weird and doesn't make a lot of sense as far as like what is it, I think that's kind of an important part of why it works on one level, because it's a couple steps removed from being anything in particular, although it is like these magnetic orbs with a couple magnets hanging off of it and a screw and stuff. And I think it helps just it kind of reference that, okay, this required humans for it to be created, but it doesn't really have, it's not a device, like the garbage guy is just a pile of garbage. I don't know his name, but he's obviously a muck ripoff, right? And he's a pile of garbage. He's just, imagine a pile of garbage with a face.
That's weird.
I think his name's like Rubbage or something like that. And then, Muck is kind of a product of humans, sort of. You could kind of look at it through that way, but he's a couple steps removed because he's pollution and like this toxic thing that he could very easily not have been part of humans, and maybe humans helped his evolution accelerate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like there's like something kind of smartness happening there, I think. And
it's like simple, but it's still very clever.
Yeah.
Not simple like a pile of garbage and no cleverness whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I do like that Pikachu in this movie was addicted to coffee, or to caffeine, really, I guess.
That's funny.
I like that. That was pretty funny. I don't know how I feel about Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu. I don't.
I saw that they were Danny DeVito was also up for the role.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know if there could have been a great Pikachu. So I guess Ryan Reynolds is fine, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. And then I don't know about the ending either. Like I knew that happened. I knew that was where that was going throughout the whole movie. And I don't know. I don't know about that ending either.
Yeah, I don't either. I like how big of a plot twist it was. It was definitely like, what? Excuse me? I mean, you're a very smart individual, so you knew the whole time, I guess. Or you suspected where it was going. I did not. So that was even a big shocker for me to be like, what the fuck? What? What just happened here? It was funny. I mean, I'm okay with it. This isn't, a very thought-provocative film. It's cute, and because it has Pokemon, I am able to forgive. Because it has Pokemon and they didn't do them dirty, I'm able to forgive a lot of the other, crappy stuff in the film, like the performances from the humans. It would have been awesome if they would have done better, but it is the first of its kind, so we can only hope that they learn from that and make it a little bit better. But it was fun.
Yeah, a better director could change this for the better, obviously for the better, but could really elevate this. Because I think there's a lot of potential in Pokemon. If they can go hard on the CG over and over again. It'd be even better if they went through the Dungeons and Dragons route and tried to make as much practical shit as they could. Because, man, oh man, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. And maybe they do. I mean, this movie made a lot of money. Made over $400 million.
Holy crap. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Can you guess the budget?
I do have my budget guess. Weird random guess. 75 million. My guess.
75 million. Why are you laughing?
Because I have no idea.
It says here that it was $150 million.
$150 million?
To make this movie. And it made $433. So it made decent money. Became, at the time, it became the second highest grossing video game movie of all time. And that's obviously been eclipsed about 10 times over by Mario today.
I mean, Mario's a lot better.
Yeah, it's almost not even fair to put the other video game movies on Mario's level because there was this kind of progression for video game movies. We had, this and that Warcraft movie, Uncharted,
Monster
Sonic.
Hunter. If you want to bring that up.
You can bring it up, that's fine. It's at the bottom. But, and then, that capped off around 500 million, and then all of a sudden, Mario comes out, and it makes almost 3 times that. Just like, shit. We kind of missed the in-between there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this movie wasn't a little bigger, because...
I thought it was pretty big at the time. There was a lot of merch when this came out. I mean, and that's understandable. You have Pokemon. That's easy.
Yeah, it's easy merch.
Easy merch.
Those numbers don't suggest to me that it was a phenomenon of any kind, though.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, the movie theater wasn't packed or anything, so, yeah. Like Marvel. I went to see, I think I went to see Endgame twice at the movie theater, and each time it was packed. Completely packed. It was insane that it could be that packed. Twice. I mean, I guess I partook in that I went to see it twice too, so.
It's funny. A lot of people probably did. I don't know if I saw that in theaters. The Endgame one, at least. I'm not sure. Yeah, that film, I think, made over $2 billion. I think it might be the highest grossing film of all time. That second Endgame, which is nuts. It's also kind of nuts that $2 billion is the cap for movies. 2.5 maybe. Because I think that Spider-Man also made over $2 billion. The most recent Spider-Man.
Okay.
I think those are... and then Avatar is up there. 1 and 2 are up. I'm not sure where they fit in that. I think Avatar 1 grossed more than 2, but I have to double check that. It's just kind of weird that video games make so much more money. I guess video games are endlessly monetizable, and you go see a movie once or twice, and you spend your $20, $30. That's it. And then games, you spend your base 40, 50, 60, 70, and then you buy extra shit over and over and over again. So you end up spending $100 on the game over the course of a year. So I guess they're not really equivalent either. So that's crazy. That's still a lot of money. Congratulations. I hope the next one is even better.
I do too. I am glad that I did get to see all my favorite Pokemon, so.
I like that they had that Psyduck kind of be Misty's Psyduck.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. That's very iconic. I didn't like the girl.
Yeah.
All
Lucy.
that much. She was kind of lame. And then her weird thing she did at the end there where she was running down the streets and I don't know, it was just like really fucking awkward. I guess because she probably didn't know where the CG was going to land when she was moving around and she did you see that? I'm not sure how to describe it. She ran around and then she was saw something and ran back and then she just got herself, she just ran into the smoke, I think, or whatever, the purple stuff. And I don't know, it was just fucking weird.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the performances were super awkward that I didn't notice when something was extremely awkward.
Yeah, that one, and then Bill Nye sitting in his chair and putting his mind in Mewtwo. Those were the weirdest bits to me.
Yeah.
And then my next favorite parts kinda was when the Ditto morphed.
Oh, that was creepy.
Because he had the eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, those were weird. I like those. I like Ditto eyes.
That was super creepy. And I like the I don't remember their names. The giant turtles. Tortuga.
Tortuga?
Is that its name? Is it just turtle in Spanish? No way.
It might be.
Extraterrestrial turtles.
I like those guys too. Those are really cool.
Yeah, those
were
cool.
my favorite.
That they made them huge. You know, I guess they experimented on them and made them really big.
Yeah, I like that, but I don't like that in the context of Pokemon because that's a serious problem. They had several of them, and
Yes.
that's a serious fucking problem. You can't. They aren't just gonna be. They're not gonna be stationary like that. For one, like they're gonna be moving about, and they're gonna be causing, like apocalyptic events everywhere they go. They're gonna kill ecologies.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny if they're in the next movies and we hear a little something like that in the background.
Yeah, like a whole region is all fucked up because of them.
Yeah, that'd be super hilarious.
It'd be kind of funny too because it makes some sense with because it seems like a lot of the regions are. It seems like most of the Pokemon world is separated by water, so all of these regions are, basically islands, big ass islands, if not a bunch of little islands together. I guess an archipelago type thing. But it seems like a lot of the regions are completely surrounded by water, and there's a lot of regions. So
okay.
So they could stay kind of stationary on one region and fuck that up. So we might hear about it. Yeah, I hope we go to Kanto though in the next movie. I'm surprised that's not where they went first. I feel like it's just kind of. I mean, I know Nintendo doesn't own Pokemon outright, but they own quite a bit of it, and I think they own like 25% of the studio. So their say matters, but I'm surprised we didn't see a Pokemon movie like this sooner. And I'm surprised we haven't seen one blow up like the Mario movie. Because I guess we had all the animated movies. How many were there of those? Like 30?
I have no clue. No idea.
They kept those going. I wonder if those went to theater in Japan. Because only a couple of them, the early ones did here. Maybe the first 2 or so. Did you like that remake they did for Netflix? Of the first movie? That, it's like a 3D CG remake.
I think I fell asleep I think we watched it. But I think I did fall asleep. So I'd have to rewatch it to give you an answer.
Yeah.
I did see the trailer preview thing that Netflix does, and it looked cool. It looked interesting. So I don't know if I would have liked it or not. I assume I would. But
as long as the art style and the animation doesn't get to you. Yeah, it's virtually the same movie. As far as I remember, I think it's maybe shot for shot the same.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we could have a Pokemon movie. They'd have to go really crazy. They'd have to make it.
It would have been expensive.
Insane. Yeah.
Because.
I mean, this movie made quite a bit of money, though, so.
It may be the beginning of something.
Yeah.
It may be. And it can definitely get a lot better. It can definitely take the Dungeons and Dragons route. I mean. And that movie cost pretty similarly, right? Wasn't it on the the lower end of 100,000? I mean 100 million, and it's much more ambitious than this movie.
Mine's still loading. Go ahead.
Oh my god, it looks like it cost about 150 million as well, and they had much bigger names attached to it. So that in production plus talent plus advertising was probably, upwards of 300 to 350 million. So it was definitely a much more expensive movie. And unfortunately, it may not have made money.
That sucks. It was a really good movie. And I went with it, with low expectations because of the people that I knew liked it.
Mhm.
So.
Oh yeah, because and
it completely exceeded all expectations I had. So, well done. That's so sad they didn't make any money, and that we weren't there to support it. We didn't go to see it. I wish we would have, man. I think I even said that in our Dungeons and Dragons episode, which you should go listen to
at patreon.com/filmistines.
Thank you. That I wish we would have seen this at the movie theater.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully it did, because I'd like to see more come out of those guys, or out of that world made in that style. Maybe not the same group of characters. That's not necessary. That would actually kind of defeat the purpose of it being Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like because it'd be kind of cool to help. It would be kind of cool to bring a new cast in every time, because that's sort of an important part of Dungeons and Dragons, is remaking these characters and having fun over and over again.
Yeah, Google says that Dungeons and Dragons made $208.2 million, but is that trustworthy? I know you have a specific website you like to use, but I don't know what it was called.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. They're probably pulling from that website. Okay. Boxoffice.mojo or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what I looked up one time that it was. I think it was the Mario movie, but it was so close to around the time the movie was still in theaters that would make sense why it was fluctuating a bit.
Yeah, it's good to look. I think they give a good update numbers on Monday or something.
Okay.
And so Mondays are good to look after, shortly after a movie comes out, and then after a month after the movie comes out, you can just look at that number and be pretty confident in it. And there's always a little bit of a future with these, because I don't know who made that movie, but it's gonna go on to make money with cable network channels and Netflix and whatnot and stuff. That's and true. Subscriptions. So hopefully it flattens out a little bit and makes it worth it for the next one.
I have no final thoughts on Detective Pikachu, other than it was cute. I'm sure a lot of kids and adults liked the nostalgia. Well, I guess kids can't like the nostalgia, or whatever word you want me to use here. I know you have a pickiness about how people use the word nostalgia.
Yeah, kids can't be nostalgic. It's like a false nostalgia.
No. I mean, because you say nostalgia has that implication of it being sad.
Yeah, the word, yeah.
No one's sad watching Pikachu.
Yeah, when you're nostalgic for something, you kind of are experiencing a sense of missing for, a different, better time.
Yeah.
And so there's a kind of a melancholicness there. And
yes.
I feel like people miss that. And now if I'm in the minority, I guess it's just taken on a new meaning.
Yeah, I don't know what other word to use here besides nostalgia, but, no one's sad watching Detective Pikachu. No one's sad looking at these cute Pokemon, but, I'm sure they liked it. Cute movie. Glad it made money. Hoping for better for the next time. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I hope the sequel, I don't know if it looks like there's 2 things in the pipeline, but I hope the sequel is not just a sequel to Detective Pikachu. I hope it's not Detective Pikachu 2. I hope it's something else that maybe has to do with Justice Smith, but not Detective Pikachu 2. Like maybe he picks up Pokemon and goes on adventures or something like that kind of thing. I hope it's not Detective Pikachu 2. And the other one is supposedly Pokemon Red and Blue or something like that. And so they assume that will 100% be a saga of some sort where we see Red as the main character and going through the 8 gems in Kanto, which would then maybe compete on some level with the Justice Smith one I just said, but I don't know, because why, if that just might get confusing from a production standpoint. Like, why are we doing the same movie with 2 different characters at the same time? So I'm not sure, but I would rather the Red and Blue one if I could choose. I'd rather no more Justice Smith ones. It's fine. We had it. We're good. We don't need more. No more Ryan Reynolds. No more talking Pikachu. Let's get Meowth in the fold. Jesse and James, although they're not in the games, I know maybe they can be still somewhere in the Red and Blue series. That might happen. But
all right.
That'd be cool. I mean, this could be, I know Nintendo is about to start making big moves in the movie world, obviously, after Mario. They're about to put a lot of money into the movie world. So I could see a proper, really amazing Pokemon movie coming out. Maybe completely unrelated. Maybe not made by Warner Brothers, but although they seem to kind of have a relationship because they've distributed other Pokemon stuff here in the States. So that relationship will probably stay up. But there's obviously going to be a Zelda movie, I would imagine, and I can only imagine there's going to be a Donkey Kong spinoff.
For sure.
So, and another Mario Brothers, obviously. So I think we might be in interesting hands here in the next 5 years with Nintendo property movies. So we will see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Sort of cute movie. I give it a
pretty cute. Pretty cute.
1.5 on my Letterboxd.
Holy shit. Yeah, I'd probably give it a 2. 2.5 because the Pokemon were just too good.
Yeah, CG just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah,
enough.
CG never does it for you.
Yeah. Proper animation will do it for me, but CG just won't. It doesn't really carry any weight for me. I do like the Gengar. Again, he's very cool. He'll probably be the thumbnail of this episode.
Not Ditto with the beady eyes.
Well,
yeah, we'll see.
Might be.
I can't wait to see.
It might be the Ditto. That's a good point. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening to this episode. It was Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Is it worth a watch? It is on Hulu if you got that, but don't go out of your way to go see this film in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, agreed. Wait till it comes on the streaming platform for free.
Yeah, it should be on something at this point at any given point in time. And then you can always bootleg it. Until next time, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines. And follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmistines signing off.